gentlemen, to episode 212 of the DualShockers ShockCast. I'm your host, George Jimenez. Joined with me today, my partner in True Detective Crime, Mr. Ryan Meitzman.
I think you mean a partner in True Detective criticism for how bad the season's been, but...
It is bad.
Yeah.
We're recording during the finale, and that just shows how much I care about the show. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to podcast instead.
Yeah. I've already gotten like a third through the finale, and I can't take it so far. So anyway, to video games now.
Oh, God, Ryan, what came out this week? Tell me. Fix my day. Make me forget that True Detective is on the air.
All right, so to go through the stuff that came out from... I'll go through last week's and the upcoming week. So we have from August 2nd to the 9th, or should I just go through next week's stuff?
Yeah, just go
right?
through next week.
Okay. All right, so August 9th through the 16th of our year 2015, we have Everybody's Gone to the Rapture for PS4, Goat Simulator for PS4 and PS3, X-Blaze Lost Memories for PS Vita and PS3, Celestian Tales Old North for PC, Actual Sunlight for PS Vita, Space Hulk for PS3, Commander Cherry's Puzzle Journey for PS4, Toy Soldiers War Chest for PS4, Gauntlet Slayer Edition for PS4, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons for PS4, Prototype for PS4, Prototype 2 for PS4. I think there's a trend here of PS4 releases. Gunstar Heroes 3D for Nintendo 3DS, Fallout Shelter for Android, and the Talos Principle Deluxe Edition for PS4.
Wow, really?
So, yeah,
Fallout Shelter finally on Android?
Yeah, it just came out this month for Android. So yeah, it was a little bit of a wait, but yeah.
2 months.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with I think everyone's gone the Rapture.
Yeah, it's actually Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. That's actually what I would have gone with, but you stole it from me, jerk. Because actually I pre-ordered it, so I'm going to be playing it probably when it comes out, either like tomorrow or Tuesday when it's available. So I'll go with. I actually just finished this right before we recorded. I finished this game. I finished the Talos Principle. So I played it on PC. It's a really, really good puzzle game, and it's going to be coming out on PS4 obviously this week. So definitely pick it up. It's a really great game, and this version obviously will have all the DLC and the expansion stuff. I'm sure that it had. So yeah, it's really good. I'd get that.
Cool. Ryan, some big things happened. We were away for a little while. Partially my fault because my computer decided to just not work whenever I need it. So hopefully it'll hang on. But next week, I'm getting my cool supercomputer, and hopefully we'll do more things because I'll have like a reliable computer that won't explode. So yay! But the big news this week is Gamescom. Our own Giuseppe Nelva is up in Germany, playing video games, doing some cool stuff, and he gave out a bunch of awards. Something new we're starting to do at trade shows now. So we're gonna do our own like game of the show type stuff. So if you're following us on social media, you'll see a lot of pictures of Giuseppe with various developers handing them. Here's your DualShocker star. Oh, it's a triangle, right? Yeah. Here's your DualShocker triangle.
Yeah, and it was funny. He shared with us a video or like a video of the Star Citizen presentation they were doing at Gamescom, and they had that picture of him handing out the award on their big slideshow at this giant screen at Gamescom, which is kind of funny to see. So he's famous now, but yeah. So obviously, if you go on the site, Giuseppe handed out a bunch of like our site awards for the best of Gamescom, and overall, his winner seemed to be Scalebound, which is the one that he kind of gave the most awards to.
So before we get into the awards, was there any kind of Gamescom news that came out that stuck to you and said like, oh wow, that's kind of impressive?
Not in particular. I don't think it was quite the same as like E3, where there weren't as many like quote bombs dropped. There wasn't really as much shocking, but obviously it was pretty cool that we got to see. Because Sony did not do a conference this year. It was just Microsoft and EA. I think were the two that did the main conferences.
But Sony is there. They have a really large booth.
They are. Yeah, they were there. They didn't do a big press conference like they have in the past. I think they're saving it for Tokyo Game Show coming up. But yeah, I thought this was cool that Microsoft kind of took this chance to kind of be on the offensive, and so they got to show off Crackdown 3, which we now officially know is now Crackdown 3. They showed Scalebound. They gave like the first kind of gameplay reveal for that, and Quantum Break, which I was really happy to see that, because Quantum Break's been one of those projects that's been like in development forever. So it was really cool to see. They've changed it a little bit, I think, from what I remember from the last video. Shawn Ashmore, the guy who played Iceman in the X-Men movies, is now the lead character, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I put that video up of the interview with Sam Lake, the head of Remedy, and Sean Ashmore, and it was like, oh look, it's the face of Max Payne and Iceman just sharing a stage.
I know, yeah. Basically, yeah, it was pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean,
what do you think of Quantum Break? Oh, that footage they showed.
I think it looks cool. Like I like the idea and the concept, especially I think, even like the only thing I think is that like it does seem a little bit like generic third person shooter a little bit to me. Like I guess kind of how like Alan Wake I really liked a lot. Like I liked the premise and the idea, but the gameplay was very much just kind of like generic third person shooter. Like it didn't really have a whole lot, like a whole lot new to it. I feel like Quantum Break I'm kind of getting that vibe. But in terms of the visual presentation, it looks really good. And I like that they're tying it into the digital like TV series is going to be coming with it, and it's got some big names behind it because Zavia has Aidan Gillen, who plays Peter Baelish on Game of Thrones, which is really exciting because I love him. He's really good. And I think that's what's that?
Wasn't Lance Reddick? Is that the guy's name from?
Yeah, he's in there too. I think it's just a shame because Quantum Break was obviously one of those games that like when Microsoft first showed the Xbox One and they were touting it as like that entertainment console, like Quantum Break was very much a part of that. And I feel like obviously now obviously their focus has shifted a little bit, so I don't know how much it's going to impact the game. But I think it still looks cool. It's a cool idea, and I'm excited to see more. Scalebound looked pretty cool too. Like I'm excited to see that. And I've never been like that big of a fan of the previous games, but I'm excited to see them bringing that back, and especially because I know Crackdown 2 I think left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So hopefully, like 3 will improve on that a little bit.
Yeah, and they announced that mode for Crackdown 3 where it's like the online mode where everything is destructible, which is okay, through the power of the cloud. But like, and they did a weird thing with that trailer because they didn't really show. It was like they were showing a video of a guy's computer screen running Crackdown in the background, but I didn't see them do any like direct feed footage. It was just like we're watching the guy's desk and look at these cool polygons and look, the building's destructing.
They pulled the Nintendo basically and did the same thing. Yeah. But it was cool. Like I haven't really been able to follow too much of Gamescom, but the stuff I did see looks pretty cool. Obviously like Gamescom is even bigger than E3, so there's a lot there.
Yeah, I think the sheer number of attendees is a lot higher than E3.
Oh, Gamescom is open to the public as opposed to E3, where E3 is only open to press and people that work in the industry. So it's a little bit different with Gamescom.
See, I'm surprised you didn't say the game I was just blown away that it actually existed was at the end of the Xbox conference. They started talking about Halo and like finally the sequel to a definitive Halo franchise, and I'm like, the hell could they be talking about? And bam, Halo Wars 2.
Oh, that was a surprise too. Yeah, that was probably the biggest shock thing out of the Microsoft. So it was pretty cool.
I didn't think I wanted a Halo Wars 2 until they mentioned that Creative Assembly's working on it, and these are the same guys from the Total War games, and I love those games. So I'm thinking, oh my god, you take that same approach, their same approach and like attention to detail and just these giant production values for an RTS, put it in the Halo world. Where it's like, yeah, Halo's got enough units where you can actually pull off something like that, which would be amazing. And I mean, who worked on a world where a Sega is making a Halo game because Sega owns Creative Assembly. So it's like that blew my mind.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, that was definitely one of those things that like when I saw it, I was like, really? Like, not in like a bad way, but just because like, like I know like Halo Wars was one of those games that kind of like people like enjoyed, but it wasn't like, like a stellar Halo game, like especially because it was so different. Because like
if you ask someone what their favorite like Xbox games, no one ever is going to say Halo Wars. But if you say, "Hey, did you like Halo Wars?" I'm like, yeah, it was pretty good. But like, I don't think anyone ever thinks about Halo Wars. Like, I think it just does its job as a functional console RTS.
I think it's just tough too, because console RTSs are such like a niche thing. Is like they very rarely work, and even when they do, they're not like big hits. Like I'm sure like XCOM on consoles did fairly well, but they're very few and far between. So who worked on the original Halo Wars? It was the guys behind Company of Heroes, right?
I believe so. I think
it was them.
About it. Yeah. But yeah, that kind of threw me through a loop because I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? Like they already announced Halo 5, so it's like, what else do we have? But yeah, Halo Wars. I'm like, all right, I'm down with that. But let's run through the list here of just lost it here. The list of our DualShocker awards over at Gamescom. So game of the show, Scalebound. It received 4 awards for Best First Party Game, Biggest Shocker, Best Xbox One Game and Game of the Show. So Giuseppe saw it. He seemed pretty impressed by it. I saw the kind of 8-minute trailer. It's weird because you've got this dragon NPC character who just kind of follows you around and does things while you're kind of playing the game It's almost like a third-person action game where imagine like Devil May Cry with a dragon helping you out, and then you can give the dragon orders to take down like big structures. And it looked neat. I mean, the frame rate looked a little wonky on there because I said wonky. I don't like that word. It was like a little choppy. Like there were moments where like the dragon and the dude were fighting, and you're just kind of like, ooh, that chugged a bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously it's early. It's not coming out until next year, I believe, right?
It was just good to see footage of the game running and and the guy's like a typical kind of like new Dante character, and he's got like his headphones that don't make any sense because you're like in a medieval fantasy world. Why do you have like Beats by Dre on there? Actually, I think the best tweet I saw for that was, oh look, he's wearing headphones. Oh, are they Beats by Dragon? And I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was a Ben Gilbert joke, but yeah, that looked really good. And the big surprise that it's a 4-player co-op. So at the end of the demo, the guy just kind of like, I'm gonna need some help, and then 3 other dudes with their dragons showed up and started fighting. I'm like, man, if that frame rate was bad now, imagine with 4 dragons on screen shooting fireballs and lifting dudes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily gonna knock it for that because it's early. Like, I'm sure. I mean, if by next year when it's coming out and it still looks like that, then obviously it's probably no bueno. But we'll see.
I mean,
it looks cool, and like obviously, like I've really liked Platinum Games' previous works a lot. So I'm excited to see, especially with them developing something with Xbox in mind. It's cool to see, like and obviously with Microsoft, kind of pushing for first-party games so hard this generation.
So best PS4 game, Giuseppe gave it to Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, which is a multi-platform game. So I don't know. That's kind of telling for the show, where the best PS4 game was a third-party game out on PC and Xbox One. But I mean, I agree that Metal Gear Solid is probably going to be a fantastic game, and we're going to talk a little bit about that very long Gamescom demo about Mother Base, which I'm the biggest Metal Gear critic, but I will play the hell out of all those games, and I'm only critical because I love the game so much. So yeah, I'm going to be super critical about it. But but good job. Best Xbox One game was Scalebound. We just spoke about it. Best PC game, Star Citizen. I don't know what that game is. They showed a crew trailer of like you and 5 other dudes who are actual players, like getting into a ship and working controls and stuff. And I'm like, I love the idea of being part of a crew on a giant ship, but I didn't quite get. It looked amazing, but I didn't know what was kind of happening. And I feel like they haven't done a good job communicating that to it's almost like a No Man's Sky issue where it's like we see a lot of cool things, we just don't know what we actually can physically do in the game.
Yeah,
so it was like, now we're going to see from the enemy's perspective, and they're like in formation in ships and going at warp speed. I'm like, are they fighting? Are they friends? No idea what's happening there. But man, that game is looking amazing, and I kind of want to like donate to the thing because like I want to be one of those people that donated like $10,000 and hey, you get your own cool ship and like your face gets put in the game. I can't. I look forward to it, and that's a game I definitely want to test out like my new PC on and just see how it runs. All them frames, man. All them frames. Ryan, do you know still making Vita games?
Yeah, there are some on occasion that are still coming out. Not necessarily made by Sony, but they're still coming.
Yeah, so Forma.8 won Best Vita game at the show and also won Best Indie Game. It's by the guys who made Futuridium. Mixed bag. It's only like 5 dudes. And yeah, you're a black sphere with 2 eyes, and then it's just like a cute game. All right, best 3DS game. Oh, God damn it. Rodea, the Sky Soldier. It looks like a kind of anime-inspired action game. Sure. A lot of the stuff I just have to take Giuseppe's word for it because he was there and actually got to like play and see some of these games. I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. Best first-party game was Scalebound. Best shooter. Star Wars Battlefront. So yeah, it looks like Giuseppe got to play a little bit of it, and he got to check out that Fighter Squadron mode. Which is, you were asking about, where's my Rogue Squadron game? And I'm like, look, they just did a 2020 TIE Fighter versus X-Wing.
We'll see. Right? we'll see about that. I'll wait until I play it and pass judgment. But yeah,
I'm excited that mode exists. but seeing it in motion was like, it was just a giant mess of just X-Wings flying into TIE fighters. I'm like,
so far, I've heard not great things about it from what I've heard, from people playing it, that it is kind of a mess so far. So I don't know. We may have to wait and see. That might be a mode that they may have to iron out a little bit, either before it releases, or hopefully what won't happen, which will be it'll release, it'll be a mess, and then they'll have to fix it afterwards, which will be kind of disappointing.
You know what it feels like? It feels like one of those modes in a game where you just went into like the user settings and just said, screw it, all vehicles, and like, yeah, they just went all TIE fighters, all X-Wings, and just we'll figure it out. Best adventure game, Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Ryan, I'm going to defer to your wisdom on here since you got to play it at E3.
I did, yeah.
How was that? Because I don't even think we even got to talk about your Mirror's Edge time there.
We might not have, but I really enjoyed the demo so far. Like, I love the original game. It was really fun, and I had some issues with with the original game and the combat, which this game, like, obviously visually it looks great. Gameplay wise, it played pretty similarly to the original. I didn't really get a whole in the demo I played. It was mostly focused more on like the platforming and the combat, or the platforming and the parkour. So I didn't really get a chance to try a lot of the combat, and combat was kind of one of my sticking points at the original game. In terms of what it did offer with the gameplay and the parkour, it played really well. Like it definitely felt a little bit smoother, I think, in some ways than the original game did. So I'm excited to see a lot more, because I really love the original game a lot, and I'm hoping that this kind of builds upon that.
Cool. Best RPG went to Final Fantasy 15, and I feel like you people know my opinions on most of the Final Fantasy games, but this one actually looks kind of fun. I mean, it's different. That's always been my thing. I like when they try something new. I like the idea of a road trip game. It's like, hey man, go hunt and make some money so we can fix our car. I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. Is the demo public yet for that?
I believe so. Yeah, I think the episode Disque, that demo, I think, is public now.
Yeah, I got to try that out and do a video for it, because I'm kind of curious to see what it's like. Best racing game, Forza Motorsport 6. I mean, we saw it at E3. It looked pretty.
Mm-hmm.
They got Fords in it. They dropped one on stage. Best sports game, Blood Bowl 2. I've actually been meaning to play the original Blood Bowl games. It's kind of like strategy football, where it's not like direct control, but you kind of issue commands. It's almost like maybe like Football Manager, except the teams are like goblins, orcs, elves, and like knights and stuff. Like that looks kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool game. Best strategy game, Nobunaga's Ambitions, Fear of Influence. It's castle building, diplomacy, and war, according to Giuseppe. So okay, we'll keep an eye out for Nobunaga's Ambition. Best platformer goes to Unravel. If you've seen videos for it, it's super adorable, and I want to see more of that game. Let's see what else I have here. Ryan, best indie game, back to Forma.8. I hope I'm saying it right. And then the biggest shocker was Scalebound. The more I see of Scalebound, the more I'm excited to play it, because I think you mentioned earlier, like, I like what Platinum Game does, and I like that they swing for the fence, and sometimes it doesn't work because you can get like a Wonderful 101, and it's like, oh, this is kind of a cool game, but it kind of loses its luster after a while. But they're always completely wholly original, which I always appreciate from the fine people at Platinum. I mean, they're the guys who got us Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Yeah,
this is true. Yeah, and obviously from the games they've done, like the Devil May Cry games and Bayonetta, especially. Bayonetta is like one I love immensely. So it looks cool. I'm excited to see. Obviously, some of these are still a long way away, like at least next year and beyond. But I'm excited to see more.
Yeah, but Gamescom, it's a good show. Like it's unfortunate that we can't go because it's halfway across the universe, but it's good that we have a guy in Europe who can like go there and cover, and like just check the site. We've got a lot of good coverage going up, good interviews. Giuseppe's putting up more hands-on next week also. He got to play a ton of things, so good for him. Ryan, I want to talk about Metal Gear.
Okay.
Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain.
The Phantom Pain.
Le Phantom Pain. So wait, actually, how far are you again? Because I know you're replaying the Metal Gear games. Where did you end up? Are you still? Did you make it to Big Shell, or are you on the tanker still in Metal Gear Solid?
Well, I'm playing them for the first time because I never played them all. I never played like I played the first game. I played Metal Gear Solid about 2 years ago for the first time, and I have the Legacy Collection for PS3. So in preparation for Phantom Pain, I'm playing them all for the first time. So I'm still on 2 right now, and I haven't even gotten to the Raiden section of the game, so I'm still very early. I haven't had a chance to play it a lot, but I'm gonna pick back up on it probably this week. So I'll make it. I mean, because the game comes out in like 4 weeks, so if I can finish like a Metal Gear game a week, then I'm good, right? It's like
if you can get to Metal Gear Solid 3. Maybe you're good, but it's definitely like the sequel to Peace Walker. So I would recommend anyone out there, if you wanted to kind of like refresh your Metal Gear, definitely do Peace Walker, because Ground Zero is the kind of the prequel game that came out last year.
Yeah,
picks up directly right after you beat Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. So,
I did play Ground Zeroes. I got through that, so it's one more. So basically, I'm going to be playing 2, 3, 4, and Peace Walker is what we'll be playing before 5. So, but I'm playing them in the order they released. I'm not playing them in like chronological order, like from the series.
Yeah, and you should be able to get through. I think if you kind of devote a weekend or so to it, you should be able to kind of jump through Metal Gear Solid 2. 3 is a little bit long because the stages are almost a little bit open ended. But
yeah,
I recommend just going that 3 and Peace Walker is where you want to go. Stop lighting. What the hell's wrong with you? So they did that half-hour demo where we're showing off the Mother Base and the forward operating base. So in the game, you could, you're rebuilding Mother Base, and it's a cool little like offshore oil rig colony. You don't know what I'm talking about, but you're kind of recreating Big Shell the way the layout is, where you're just kind of building struts, and they just kind of spider web out. So they revealed the online component of the game. So there's going to be Metal Gear Solid Online, which is the traditional, 8-on-8 deathmatch or infiltration, that sort of nonsense. Forward operating base, the way it works, it's one-on-one. So during the course of the game, you're going to be rebuilding like an additional base, and they're going to call that your forward operating base. And that's where the online component kicks in. So whenever you Fulton stuff in, you get resources. You could build up defenses on this new base that other people can see and can infiltrate. So, for example, you have your base, you're building your forward operating system. I want to be a jerk and be like, I want to take Ryan's things, so I can infiltrate your game as either Snake or any one of my other members of Mother Base. So I can be like Raging Octopus or Mad Goat, and he can go break into your base. And the idea is I have like 10 minutes to take as many things as possible and to get to your core. And then I can steal your soldiers, I can steal your resources, and I can steal things. So as this is going on, you're going to get an alert. All right, relax on me. You're going to get an alert in game saying, "Hey man, some dude just broke into your base. Handle it." So you teleport to your base, and you have to try to find me. And if you kill me, great. I don't steal anything from you. But if I beat you, I keep all your goodies. And the way they show it off here is, so if you're not around, your base can still be infiltrated. So it's like really important to kind of set up your defense. It's almost like playing think like Clash of Clans or something. Like the game is still going to happen while you're not there. But the cool thing is, if me and you are friends, and I see that someone is infiltrating your base, I'm gonna get an alert saying, "Hey man, your boy Ryan's base needs some help. You want to help?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna help him out." So I can go and I work with the soldiers that are there. So they show this cool mechanic of like when one of the soldiers catches the intruder, and then the person defending can kind of, his location gets revealed because time also slows down because it does that like alert thing happening. Good boy. Which was really cool. And then they showed, so clearly there's some technological leaps happening there. So they showed off stealth camo that you could research because as you're recruiting scientists and stuff, you get goodies. You can get animals and make a zoo. But one thing I saw there was the wormholes, where instead of a Fulton, it's a Fulton upgrade. So instead of sending people up to a balloon, because what ends up happening is if you're in my base stealing my stuff, I can see you ballooning the things, and I can shoot the balloons down and save it. And you only have a limited number of balloons. So if you keep doing that, you're going to end up not taking anything from me. So there's an upgrade that literally just opens up a wormhole, and they just get sucked in. So it's like 100% success because there's nothing to shoot down.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So like I don't know. Did you ever play any of Metal Gear Online with Metal Gear Solid 4 like when that came around or?
Yes. I enjoyed it. Metal Gear Solid 4 had the issue of having really bad controls. Like the controls did not get good until Metal Gear Solid 2 Subsistence and like the 3 remake. And all the HD remakes essentially, because now you have like the independent camera controls on 3, and Peace Walker you can do that too. So playing it online was rough, but it was a really cool game because they worked a lot with like the nanomachines and working with teams. So it was like if I interrogate one of the other opponents before I snap his neck, I can jack into his nanomachines and all the enemies will be revealed. So I know and I can see them right through walls. That and different ways to play, because you can go in like full lethal loadout, or you can go like just trank dart. So it became a thing of like, should I kill this guy so he respawns, or should I just put him to sleep and he'll never respawn?
Mm-hmm.
So it became I remember playing with I was playing with a group of like really good players. So what we would do is literally just put most of the people to sleep, and if it was a mode like a capture the some sort of objective thing, like a capture the flag type thing, we just put the whole team to sleep, and then by the time they all get up, we would just kind of wait around, put them back to sleep again, and just keep running the objectives. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be a lot of that. And also infiltrate this base with a bunch of dudes, kill their things, and then a lot of shooting back and forth. All the gadgets will be there. But what I like about this forward operating base is just I like the persistence of it, and that it's always on. So I'm trying to see if maybe they did announce like a companion app to go on like iOS and Android. So it makes me wonder if that's going to be how you're going to keep keep track of all the comings and goings of your base, and just like, oh, who attacked me this time? How much did I lose? Because like once I infiltrate your base and you either beat me or not, you have the opportunity to come to my base, so you can kind of get revenge and stuff. But it's a really cool video. And then one of the gadgets that they showed, because Snake has a prosthetic arm, so he can get upgrades to different prosthetic arms. So like the last demo they did showed it like you can turn into a rocket and you can do like a Nikita and follow it around and blow up people's face. This one they showed was it was called the Jehuti arm, which is from which is named the robot from Zone of the Enders. So you fire your arm, so it does the same thing, but instead of blowing up, it grabs the guy and teleports them into ass-kicking range. So they showed the demo of Snake's watching a soldier like shoot, and then he like vanishes, and they're like, whoa, what happened there? So they turn the camera around to see the attacker, and he shot his arm. The guy gets teleported in front, confused obviously because he was teleported, and then Snake just beats his ass. And it was really cool. Like, I'm gonna be playing that mode nonstop because everyone's gonna design their base differently, and it's fully customizable. So you can do all different colors, you can do the layouts all differently. So in essence, you're doing endless content. So they're almost doing like what Squeenix is doing with Hitman. Like they're using Hitman almost like a platform for these assassination missions, where they're just like, this is every day we're gonna give you every day or every week or something, we're gonna upload different scenarios. So it's like, hey, it might be this same like Chinatown stage, but we're gonna change the target and we're gonna change the parameters. So instead of using a gun, you got to throw them out a window or something. So it looks like I'm really curious how that's gonna go, and that's gonna launch day 1 when it releases. So the Metal Gear Solid Online won't be available until sometime in October. They're kind of doing the GTA 5 approach with the online.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is it seems like they're going in that approach where they're gonna make sure it works, hopefully, and then release it. So we'll see.
I heard that, I'm like, oh, that's never like the last people who did that was Grand Theft Auto 5, and that game didn't work for like a good month. So yeah, I'm not too concerned about. I am concerned just because that report came out of the working conditions at Konami.
There's that too. Yeah.
Let's get into that. So the Japanese newspaper outlet Nico released a report just kind of revealing the working conditions at Konami. And out of all just the weird big brothery stuff of like, hey, no one can have internet or email, and if you do have email, it's going to be a temporary with random ass characters. It would be like bunch of symbols at konami.press.pr1101.com. So I remember getting those kind of emails years ago. And I'm like, man, this is a weird email for like a John, like a John Smith at Konami. That's strange. But yeah, and it also looks like they do punitive reassignments, meaning say you were a developer and for whatever reason they weren't happy with your performance. Instead of firing you, they maybe just told you, hey, guess what? You're going to work security at one of our spas, or you're going to be in custodial work. Congrats. and I think it's a cultural thing because they don't, they don't want to fire people, but they'll do the next best thing. Let's make things miserable. Let's make them miserable enough where they have to quit. But the economy. So they're not going to quit and just do whatever they tell you. But yeah, can you imagine just working on a game and maybe it doesn't sell well, or maybe you just had I don't know, you had words with your boss, and the next thing you know, you are working security at a health spa across the country.
Yeah, I definitely think when you said that, it definitely seems like it's more it's maybe Konami takes it to another level, but it does seem like it's more of a cultural thing, and maybe it's just with Japanese companies. Because I've listened to other podcasts where they were talking about the same thing and saying that other Japanese companies do this as well. It's not just Konami, but I guess it's just maybe not as public as with what Konami was doing. And obviously, I think that it kind of snowballs over the fact over all the troubles they've been having over the previously this year between everything with Hideo Kojima and everything with just the financial, problems they've been having. And, it's just, they're not in a good place right now. I think it's clear. It's that, it stays given, Konami's legacy and the games that they produced, Castlevania and the Metal Gear games. And, now it seems like they're gradually, I don't think they'll completely get out, but I think they're on their way towards it, at least for the near future.
Yeah, I mean, you got right now they're working on Castlevania pachinko machines. That kind of shows you where their minds are at right now.
Yeah, obviously, because even if they exit games, Konami has their hands in enough other places, they'll be fine. Because obviously we know that they do, gambling, they do they have all these other businesses. So even if they get out of games completely, they're fine financially. They'll at least be okay. But obviously it seems like they're just kind of getting out of the they're not really interested in pursuing games as much anymore anyway. So
I think they're not interested in pursuing the big budget AAA games because rumor is that Metal Gear Solid 5 is it's going to be it cost them $80 to $100 million to make, which is a lot of goddamn money.
Right. Yeah.
And I guess at the end of the day they're looking at the bottom of their spreadsheet and it's we just made a $1 Silent Hill Match 3 game that cost us $5,000 to make, and that made us $10 million.
Yeah, it's
Metal Gear Solid, they're gonna have to sell a ton of copies, and they will. But it's $100 million, 5-ish years of development. That math doesn't add up for them. At least for them, who's maybe just their bottom line is let's just make a profit, and to them, it's maybe the profit in AAA is not worth the trouble anymore. Which when you start seeing things like that, it starts making sense why the split between Kojima and stuff, because Kojima is notorious for just kind of burning through budgets and just since his games do so well, they give him kind of a really long leash to just you want to do the whole first 20 minutes of Metal Gear Solid 4 with fucking FMVs and multiple channels that you can click through it's the intro of the game, and you can either watch all that stuff or just skip it and move on because you should. Even though watching David Hayter sitting in a chair with a future eye patch talking about playing himself, and it's so meta and weird, and they're all on YouTube, so you really should just YouTube the Metal Gear Solid 4 just intro FMVs because you can cycle through Ryan, oh man, you need to play that game. It's so good. It's so good because I think once you're going through it the first time, you're just kind of Kojima's nuts.
What is going on?
The game is crazy, but in the best way possible. My issue has always been the game itself just plays like crap.
Yeah.
It's so weird. You sit there and you're doing dumb claw things so you can hang off a roof and shoot the gun this way in first person. They didn't figure out. I was happy that Ground Zeroes has the control. It seemed them oh, this is how third person shooters are supposed to work when they're covered. Yes, take The Last of Us controls. That's all you have to do. God damn it, Ryan. We should make video games. It's so easy. Speaking of, we'll leave Konami because I think Konami's going through some troubles, and nothing's going to change by us piling up on top of them. So instead of piling up on top of them, let's pile on top of Peter Dinklage.
Womp womp.
Oh man! So as you know, Peter Dinklage was the voice of Ghost in the Destiny games, your little robot buddy who floats above you. And let's just say people had mixed feelings about the performance of the way he delivered lines. People were not thrilled with because he sounded really bored. And to me,
I think also as people lovingly referred to him as Dinklebot in the Destiny communities. So,
and to me, I was you know what? He's bored because the game is boring. So good. So yeah, Peter Dinklage will not be returning to Destiny to Taken King. Instead, Nolan North will be taking over all the voice duties for Ghost in Taken King and any future Ghost like dialogue. But that's
Yeah,
not the
and
best part.
they also said that they will be going back through all of his the previous lines that Peter Dinklage did, and Nolan North will be redoing them. So they're basically going to be eliminating Peter Dinklage from the game, which is unfortunate. I mean, but obviously, I think the reason that they gave is they wanted to establish kind of consistency, because obviously they don't want to, it makes sense. Like, they don't want to use all the stuff that was in the original Destiny and then introduce all this new content with Taken King, and all of a sudden, nope, his voice is different now. What's going on with that? So.
Yeah, and also it's like, until now, do you have Nolan North do a Peter Dinklage impersonation so they can kind of keep it like consistent, or just have him redo the whole lines?
Oh, I would love him trying to do that, for him to try and impersonate, be like, that wizard came from the moon. Like,
I just want him to do just a Drake voice, and that's it. Just Nathan Drake. Just pretend like it's Nathan Drake on your shoulder, and that's it. Like, don't even
exactly, yeah.
Are there. Just just make it all canon, where in the future he became a robot, and this is just his. I don't know, his mind is now in the Ghost, and he's just
so obviously for those that may not know, Nolan North is a very, very, very well known video game voice actor. Obviously, he's most well known for doing Nathan Drake in the Uncharted series, but he's done countless other voices. He's probably, like, aside from him and Troy Baker, he's probably the most prolific voice actor out there in games right now.
Yeah, he's in Saints Row 4 as a fourth voice option, literally just called Nolan North.
It's called Nolan North.
That's great. It literally just says Nolan North. Oh man, that's
awesome. Yeah.
Hey Ryan, soon the Xbox One DVR feature will let you record television while playing games.
It's pretty cool. I did not know that, but that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I have a reason to replug my cable box back into my Xbox One.
Although, actually, I think there was one other report that I read as well, where you need an external hard drive, I think, in order to use that feature. You can't use like your internal hard drive. They want to keep, I guess, the storage options different for that. So I think in order to use that, you have to get an external hard drive to use it.
Sure, I guess that makes sense.
Which is not too. I mean, because they actually, I just heard on this. Last week during Gamescom, that's Microsoft's partnering with Seagate to provide special Xbox branded hard drives and stuff. That, like, it's a 2 terabyte drive, I think, for like $110, which is a pretty fair price. It's not that expensive. So, yeah. So obviously, if you're looking to use that feature, you could just get a cheap 2 terabyte hard drive and be good.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's good. I mean, I don't, like, my current cable service doesn't provide DVR just because I want to save like $60 a month. So knowing that I have that on my Xbox One, just like, oh, okay, now I've got some DVR options, and I'd like to keep somewhat current, like like Hannibal. I'm trying to keep up with it, but I'm like, oh, I keep missing the episodes, and I don't know where to watch it, and then like my on demand's always wonky. So I was like, oh, I said wonky twice. I'm not a fan of that. But yeah, I like having that option where I can just kind of like, oh, go back and start watching shows. Or I used to be one of those people who notoriously just DVR everything.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
I mean,
I don't have cable, so I mostly just So for me, like, I live off like Netflix and all that, and HBO Go. So to me, it's not it doesn't really affect me. But I think the feature is really cool. And obviously, yeah, like in your case, like if you're like searching for shows, it's helpful to have.
Yeah, it's tough for me to do appointment television because it's like, unless it's on Sunday at 9 o'clock, I lose track of whatever.
Yeah. Especially something like Hannibal, because Hannibal, they just changed the date for the airtime for that now, because they canceled it. But also, like, now it's on Saturday nights, and it's tough to keep track. So I'm glad that like now, like, it's a little easier to do that sort of thing. And I know, like, because PlayStation has the View service that's going to be coming soon, or at least has been in beta.
Yeah, it's that almost like that a la carte cable.
Yeah, it's a little bit more like Sling, basically, where it's like what you said. It's more like a la carte. You can kind of pick what channels you want, so you don't have to pay like per month for like a $100 and over cable package every month.
But yeah, good. TV. Remember when the Xbox One was launched? TV. Yeah, look. TV.
Yeah, not anymore. So
they figured out TV, Ryan.
Yeah, they figured it out.
Just in case you guys were wondering, Final Fantasy 15 development is 65% complete.
It's getting there. It's good. I know there have been there were rumors. I think last week or within the last 2 weeks or so about a 2016 release date. Like not officially confirmed, but rumors seem to be indicating it'll be coming out next year. And like if that's the case, I could see it happening. I still think it's probably not coming until 2017, but we'll see how that goes.
My favorite were the comments when we put that up. And we're like 65%. What were they doing in the last 9 years?
It'll only. Oh, I mean, at that rate, what? It'll only be another like 7 or 8 until it finally gets done.
Yeah, I just wanted that game just to see what it becomes. Just because I remember when it was announced, and it was announced with like those 5 other Final Fantasy games, and like they were like creating a universe, just like they like Avengers the Final Fantasy games. Or it was like, oh yeah, we want to do Versus 13, and then Nova Crystal Crystallis on the iPad and the Wii. I'm like, man, they're getting ambitious with Final Fantasy 15, and like all I want is just some chocobos and maybe a wizard, fire guys. Like to me, that's Final Fantasy for me. Like I don't need people on motorcycles anymore. You know what? I think that's it for news. Ryan, you played some Life is Strange.
I did. I played a couple episodic games actually. So before Life is Strange, I did a review. Oh, well, okay. So first, we do Life is Strange. I also played Game of Thrones as well. So let's go through Life is Strange. I played the 4th episode, which is the penultimate episode. There's only one more episode left this season. And so in my review, I gave it a 7. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I think it was probably my least favorite episode, I think, out of the series, because I think the biggest things were the pacing was a little bit off. I felt like in this episode, this was the longest episode out of the series so far. This one was probably about 3.5 hours, as opposed to the most episodes, which are usually like an hour and a half, 2 hours. This was a much longer episode. But it did affect the pacing at some spots where it was just slow in some parts. There were also some parts of this I can't really go into a whole lot because I don't want to spoil anything. But some of the directions that the story takes and just how events that have happened in this episode, like impacted events previously, I was a little like. It just like not rubbed me the wrong way, but just like it felt it was a little bit weird. Have you been keeping up with the series at all or playing it? Or
I've not played this episode, but yeah, I was up to episode what is this, 5? Yeah, I went to episode 4.
This is episode 4.
Oh wait, no. You sure?
All right, of Life is Strange. Yeah, this is the 4th episode.
I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Game of
Thrones. No, we'll do. No, sorry.
Okay, we'll talk. This is 4. Okay.
Sorry, this is Life is Strange. We'll talk about Game of Thrones next. But yeah, this is Life is Strange episode 4. So I don't know how far you've been keeping up with Life is Strange. If you
just the first episode. I just did the first episode for Life is Strange.
Okay, because Life is Strange, I feel like if I went back and played the previous episodes, like it would be interesting because the series has been really getting better. I feel like has been getting better and better in each episode. Especially a lot of the things that I think in the first episode that were kind of weird, like the writing, obviously, like there was a lot like the teen slang and stuff like that was a little bit weird. It's funny because they actually make a joke in this episode about that. That's hilarious because there's a part where Chloe, Max goes into a part in the past with Chloe where she's younger and she says, he says, I hate that word. That word sucks. It was so funny. I thought it was great that they kind of put those in there. But yeah, obviously, Life is Strange episode 4 is still really good. Not I think. Not the weakest episode, but it had some issues. But obviously, I'm excited to see where the series is going to be next. And then I also played Game of Thrones episode 5, which also I think a similar sort of thing. Where obviously there's only one more episode left of that, so now they're starting to kind of tie up loose ends. And I think it was another good, strong episode. But I think the problems that the series has had so far are still kind of prevalent. Where it's like. A lot of the stuff they're kind of going through in this series is kind of similar to what happened in the show with the Starks, and it's just kind of like a lot of the characters I think sometimes kind of feel like palette swaps for like, oh, here's the Ned Stark, the Robb Stark, the Catelyn, it's like basically like they're all the equivalents. But yeah, it was pretty good. It had some really good action scenes, and the ending of this episode especially, it was like had a really tough decision to handle. But obviously, I can't really say much more without spoiling, But yeah, they're both really good. I'm excited to see where both of those, since each of those series only have one more episode, so I'm excited to see where they're going.
Let me guess, bad things happen to the Foresters?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it is Game of Thrones, so you can't really.
Or let me guess, Ramsay's a jerk in this.
Oh, definitely, of course. It's like he has a pretty big part in this episode, so yeah.
And to me, I think that's the issue I have, since it's so tied in with the show. Like, I know that they won't have any satisfying resolution for dealing with Ramsay because he's not, spoilers, no one's dealt with him on the show, so it's like
I mean, obviously we'll be doing a review like once episode 6 is out, then I'll do like a full review of the season. That is one of my more nagging issues I think with the Telltale series is I kind of wish that they went with an original story in like a different area rather than trying to tie it into the television series, because obviously anytime they have characters from the show, like, you know, you have the show working against you because you know what happens to them. Yeah. So it's anytime they have Tyrion or they have, you know, Marjorie or Cersei or anyone like that to the show, you know, they can only do so much with it because they don't want to impact the, you know, because this is kind of canonical to the TV series. So, you know, it references events and things that happen in the show. And it's like, you know, they can't really do much to really affect that. So they have to kind of play by the show's rules.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I like when they go to what is it, Bravos, when we're dealing with like Asher, and like they go there because it's like, you know, we've never seen much of Bravos.
Oh, they're in Marine, so they're they're still they're in they're like I mean, obviously like Daenerys is back in this episode after she was in the last episode a bit. So like again, it's still sort of the same thing as like I think they have a little bit more liberties there though, like, you know, with the story where they can take it, because obviously we haven't seen much of Daenerys that much in the show other than like the you know, bits of her with her dragons and all that. So
I'm looking forward to it. We should definitely do because I do want to play Life is Strange, and Life is Strange both of these games have one more episode left, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we definitely should get together and do a like spoiler cast and do like a whole full season recap and just kind of go.
We should. Yeah, it would be great.
I really do want to talk Game of Thrones because there's some interesting things happening there. But yeah, I do get that vibe where it's like, yeah, you're clearly the Ned Stark, you're the Robb Stark character of the show, you're the Theon. It's like, oh, you're Sansa. Wow, yeah, you're definitely Sansa. Like, I appreciate it, but I kind of wish you know, like you said, they kind of stuck with an area that like was never covered in the games.
Yeah, I think
let's just do a whole thing in Sunspear. Why not? Like,
yeah, we can go into more detail like when you know, after the episodes are out. But yeah, I do feel like I wish that they kind of went more in their own direction with the story, because obviously the world of Game of Thrones is so rich and there's so many different avenues they can go down.
But yeah, you know what, Ryan, we're gonna end this short. Tell me, what have you been playing, or what are you going to play? Snake, is that gonna happen ever?
What's that? Sorry?
Is that gonna happen ever? Like, I need to
know. What's gonna happen? I missed.
Oh, are you gonna save the day of Snake?
Oh, eventually, yeah. I didn't get to play a lot of Metal Gear Solid 2, but I did finish 2 games over the weekend, which I was really happy with, because I'm just trying to chip away at my backlog this summer. So I finished God of War Ascension, because I had that for PS3 for a while, which was okay. It was kind of what I thought, which was more God of War. Basically, it was an okay game.
Or the God of War no one wanted.
Yeah, basically, but it had its moments. But yeah, it was an okay game. And then today I finished the Talos Principle, which I really enjoyed a lot. It was really, really good. So obviously with the PS4 release coming this week, I would definitely recommend playing it, or get it on PC, because it's also really good there. I got it on sale. I got it during the Steam sale this summer, and I got it for like $13, and it was easily worth that and more. So, and there was a new expansion that came out for that about a week or 2 ago. That's also really good. And then I'm going to be playing Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, which comes out on Tuesday. I pre-ordered that, so I'm really excited to be playing that. I've been looking forward to that game for a while. I'm a big fan of the developer, the Chinese Room, who before they did Dear Esther and they did Amnesia: Machine for Pigs. So they kind of specialize in doing a bit more like narrative-heavy, exploration-based games. And obviously, this seems like it's going to be following that model. But I'm excited to see what the direction they're taking it in. That it looks really cool. That the premise is interesting too.
Cool. Anything else?
That's it. That's it for me.
Yeah. I'm playing this game called Kern, Kyn on the PC. It's kind of this like what is it? The best way to describe it? Kind of like a dungeon crawler, like a Diablo / Neverwinter Nights hybrid. Doing that for review. Having computer issues, so like I've been kind of dropping in and out of that game, and also playing since they did that big update for Star Wars, the old Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. After 10 years, they finally got a huge patch. So the
10 years later.
So the game is in widescreen. It's also 4K compatible. They also added the true, I forget, the unfinished mod or something, where people went in and there was all this content that they cut out of the game, but left a lot of the assets and just files in the actual game disc. So people went in and like reopened new areas. Like there's a whole HK factory where you go with HK-47 to fight other HKs. That was just completely cut out of the game. But people just, I don't know, hit the switch and like now it's available because there's even dialogue and stuff in there. They even fixed some of the endings, some of the weird because that game has actual endings on the disc that they didn't use because if you played Knights of the Old Republic 2 and beat it, you're just kind of like, oh, it just ended. It's just done, depending on some endings you do. But yeah, it looks great. I'm getting like, the more I play, I'm like, man, I want a KOTOR 3 so badly. But, you know, I have to just deal with it and move on in my life, you know, think about Metal Gear. And I'm like, I can't believe it's only
a couple more weeks.
I don't mind. Like I might hunt down an Xbox 360 so I can play some Peace Walker again, just to really get myself hyped for it. But yeah, I don't know what it is. Like I usually go most of my life without thinking about Metal Gear, and then for whatever reason, I'm just kind of like I can't stop thinking about that game, and I like need to play it, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean it's been it's been what 7 it's been 7 years I think since Metal Gear Solid 4. It's been a while, so you got to get your Metal Gear fix.
You do. What year did Metal Gear Solid 4 come out?
It was 2008, so I think it was 7 years. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's a long time.
A long time.
But yeah, I'm figuring it out, and then my new PC's coming in this week, so there'll definitely be some more joysticking with George's and just some other fun video stuff. It's happening. We're working on a secret hush hush project involving studios and stuff, so that should be interesting in the next couple of weeks. So I'm working on the Thunderdome, Ryan.
Operation Thunderdome.
Operation Thunderdome is a go. Just letting you know. And we're gonna do some pretty fun stuff with that. And I think that's it, Ryan. We're gonna call it this week just because I wanted to do a podcast because everyone's been like super busy, and I'm like, let's just do a podcast. Like at some point, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't even have to be every week. I'm like, let's just get together and talk about video games, Ryan.
Yeah.
You're free on Sunday. You're not gonna watch True Detective anymore. Today's the last night. 9 o'clock's gonna be free from now on, so we have no.
I still have the strain, so I've got one more Sunday night show. So.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't seen season 1. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but it looks good. I mean, I like good, weird.
It's okay. It's not amazing. Oh, and Last Week Tonight. Obviously, I love that show. So,
but it's a 10:30, so we'll be fine. Yeah, guys, I think that's it. Thank you for watching another ShockCast. We kept it short this week because we have things to do. I was your host, George Jimenez, and joining me as always is Ryan Meitzel.
I thought I was your host, George Jimenez. I guess not though. So
no, I was your host. Control your body.
It's some kind of weird Hideo Kojima twist. Some kind of plot twist. So yeah,
I'm the reason for every bad life decision. Thank you for joining us. Check it out. Go to DualShockers.com for more episodes of Joysticking with George and just hands-on interviews, fun stuff. We got a ton of Gamescom coverage happening, so be sure to check that out. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Say bye, son. No? Okay.